Welcome to the Dr. Inia Desnia podcast. I have various U.S. and international accounting and tax designations, a master's in tax, and a PhD in business administration with a concentration in finance and accounting. Over the past 2 decades, I have helped several SMEs succeed. This podcast will provide strategies and resources to help startups and existing businesses thrive. Let's get started. Okay, today we're going to speak about what type of records should your business keep. All right, the type of records. Remember, we talked about earlier on in one of my earlier podcasts, I talked about commingling of funds, right? So now I'm talking about what type of business, what type of documents your business should keep. Okay, now I'm going to divide this into 4 categories to just explain the documents. I have the assets, liabilities, I have the expenses, and I have income. Now, please, I'm not trying to teach anybody accounting here or teach anybody tax here, but I just wanted to make sure that we have an understanding, right? To understand what documents do we keep? And now to understand that, we have to look at these categories, right? So what is an asset? Generally, an asset is something that you use to just run your business, right? It could be a delivery truck. It could be a building. Now, if you're into selling the delivery truck, well, it's a bit like a current asset, but we're not going to really go into those, which one is fixed and which one is current. No, I just want you to have a general understanding, right? So generally for assets, what do you need? What do you need to show? You need to show invoices, right? Because assets is what you buy. You buy the delivery truck, you buy a building, or you have a mortgage on a building, but we'll talk about that loans. But generally, you buy it outright is what you buy. Now, usually what happens is that an invoice is sent, right? Sometimes they give you 30 days to pay, depending, right? If that's the case, you have those invoices, you have the payment. Now, even before I delve deeper, I want to make sure we understand that please, do not spend cash. Do not spend cash. Please do not spend cash. If somebody's paying you in cash, please take it. Receive your cash. But when it comes to payment, do not spend cash. I'll tell you why. Because you want what? A paper trail. You want to have evidence of that payment. That's what you want, right? So assets, these are, you show, if you're paying, if you pay something with a debit or credit card, or even with transfer, you paid with a check, there's a paper trail. You want to always have a paper trail. All right. So that's why we're talking about now the documents, right? Now, if it's a liability, that's why I love, when I break it down with the meaning, right? Liability, liable. You're liable for that thing. So if you don't pay, they come after you. So you're liable. So that's a liability, right? Liability could be something like, a loan. If you don't pay a loan, of course, they'll come after you. So that's how you remember. So what is it? Loans, before you get a loan, right? There's a loan agreement. So you need those documents. Sometimes some loans actually have amortization, showing you amortization. Don't think about it so much. Just know it's a statement that shows this is the amount you're paying. This amount of this payment, this amount is principal, this amount is interest. So don't think of it too much. But I'm just saying that you need the loan agreement. All right, loan agreement. Another thing that you would need is anything, maybe evidence of payment so far. As you pay, of course, happy that you're not paying with cash. Please, as much as possible, businesses, I say, please do not pay with cash, because if something happens and you want to make sure that, yes, we're seeing that cash that is being paid. All right. Now, when it comes to expenses, right, we're looking at business expenses. Business expenses are what? what you use to run the business, right? Could be utilities, could be stationery, what you generally use to run that business. So if that being the case, what would you have? Statements, example, utility statements, payments. Of course, you're making the payment through, online, check, cards, fine. All right. Very important. Then, of course, you have revenue. When it comes to revenue and income, what are we looking at revenue? Remember, I said, take cash. If you want to take cash, that's fine. You can't reject cash. Somebody's paying you, you can't reject cash. So, but it's very, very important that if you're receiving cash, please give the person a receipt, right? Because you want to make sure that, your cash is not getting missing, right? Your cash is being accounted for too. So generally, make sure that you have a receipt, right? And if somebody's paying you by check, we know all those things, make sure that there's an evidence. You see that, these checks, how the check is being received. And of course, payments are being noted that these payments have been made. So again, I just want to make sure we understand these things that make these documents that are required. I remember I told you at the beginning of one of my earlier podcasts, please don't mix, make sure you don't commingle. Don't mix funding, right? Don't mix funds, all right? Make sure you separate your personal account from your business account, all right? It's so important, all right? Then again, make sure that you keep these documents. And now the great thing about a paper trail, even if when you pick up a receipt, right? A receipt from your business account. Let's say, sometimes receipts, sometimes the ink goes bad. We're going to talk about storage later, one of my podcasts down the line. But remember that even for receipts, if they go bad, you can go back to the bank and say, you know what, I want to see my bank statement or my credit card statement. And I see, or you go back to a credit card company and you can see that, okay, this was taken, this amount was taken for this restaurant, paid to this restaurant, or just being able to see those, being able to see those payments, right, is so important, which is so important. All right. So, and again, if the government agency comes and says, oh, I want to make sure, you said you deducted maybe a certain amount of money for that you bought something for the business, but where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? And so I pay cash, right? Is harder to prove, especially maybe, receipts get, disappear, or when I say disappear, I mean, get bad. It's harder to prove that you really paid for that thing, for that item, right? So, I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm just saying it's harder to prove. Even in the court of law, right? You go to, even in small claims court or whatever court, documentation, paper trail is so important. So if you're a small business, I know so many small businesses, they have issues with that because, they take the business as, it's my business, I can do what I like. No, you can't do what you like, because at the end of the day, it brings issues and problems to you, and you don't want that, right? Remember, we're talking about how to get your small business to thrive, how to get your business to thrive, right? You don't want that. So you want to make sure that everything is aligned, that you're not doing anything that is really not giving room for questioning, right? You don't want to spend time and stress yourself out and really sit back and say, okay, what's going on? I'm battling with, they're asking for this document, but I don't have it. But we're going to talk about storage. Document storage, that one is a different podcast, but I just want you to make sure that your assets, your documents for your assets, documents for your liability, documents for your expenses, documents for your income and your revenue, you have those things in order. All right. It's very, very important for you to do that. Okay. So again, you're not spending cash anymore, right? You're not spending cash anymore. Take cash when you're paid, but I know you're not going to spend cash because there's too much, too much stress. Your goal, I tell people all the time, small business, the goal of you going into a small business, right? Your goal is to enjoy what you're doing, right? And so less stress, more thriving, less stress. And you don't want this to, stress you out. All right. Awesome. Okay. Our next segment, we're going to talk about, or I'm going to respond to our questions. So when I respond, it's generally to educate others, right? I have some questions that were sent in again by October 11th, Tuesday, October 11th, we'll be going live. It'll be live podcast from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And of course, I will let you know how to ask your question. You just go to the website and then you see what is required, how you would ask the question, how do you get to ask the questions, your questions. All right. Okay. So let's look at some of the questions that was sent. All right.
Hi, this is Dr. Nish Kimani. I often give my business money. How do I account for the money I give to my business?
Awesome. That's actually a very important question because, especially when it comes to startups, many people start the business and they really actually fund their business, right, to get started. Now, first of all, make sure it's clean fund. When I say clean, make sure you're actually transferring the money to the business account. So it's easy to trace, easy to trace that money, right? Going in. That's why I'm saying make sure it's clean. When I say clean, I mean it's easy to see it moving around, right? Because I see people, they don't make it clean. And then eventually when they want to get their money back, it looks so weird because they're saying I'm reimbursing myself, but it wasn't a clean transfer of, I'm reimbursing myself. But I mean, there was nothing to show that, okay, you gave your company 3,000 and you're taking 3,000 back. That's what I'm talking about, clean. So you can actually account for it in two ways. You can say, you know what, I want it to be like a loan to the business. Eventually I will get it back. But, let someone be able to trace it. This 3,000 was given on this particular day and the 3,000 is coming back. Easy to trace. Now, sometimes you might say, you know what, I want to make it as equity. That means I'm giving it to the business as ownership, like showing a kind of ownership, just letting it stay in the business. That's my contribution to the business. You can also handle it like that, right? It's not like the other one is wrong or the other one, there's no like one is wrong or one is incorrect. No. One is not that one is incorrect and one is correct. It's just how you want to handle it. But I would just say, please make sure it's clean. Handle it well in such a way there's a clean transfer. All right. Okay. I hope that answers your question. All right. Let's see another question. Let me see. I think I saw one more. I think, yeah.
Hello, Dr. Indy. This is Lavon Williams. Please tell me, are there any incentives for my business? Thanks.
Okay. This lady is asking if there's any incentive for her business. I would say she's talking about government incentives. All right. So I want to say that whether you're located in the US, that's North America, located in any international, any country, really, generally, right? Generally, I know countries, just generally, this is generally, I would say that small businesses hold up the economy. You can, do some research and see the write-ups about small businesses. And so because of that, government supports small businesses greatly. So yes, usually there are incentives available for small businesses. So you have to make sure you are looking out for those incentives, right? I will say that work with your accountant, but even if you don't have an accountant, find out, do networking, find out what others are doing. And please be careful, don't do, when I say be careful, there are some that might not apply to you. So make sure you're really networking to find out which incentive really, really applies to you. All right. So generally, yes, you can. Yes, there are incentives, but you have to look out for those incentives. All right. And make sure you do your research. If you don't have an accountant working with you, just do your research and make sure you're benefiting from that. Because even though the incentives exist, if you don't know about them, you can't benefit from them, correct? So the most important thing is the knowledge base. That's why, I try my best on this platform to let people know that there are some benefits available, or try to clarify things that will help small and medium-sized businesses, because I know resources are limited, and I know that it's, if you don't know again that those incentives exist, you might not look out for them. All right. So again, network, find out what's happening, network with people within your field. When I say field, your business industry, right? So your business or your industry, right? I mean, the lady that came on a couple of earlier podcaster, and she was saying that she's into mobile notary. She's a mobile notary public, and what was amazing about what she is doing, she's she can she has clients around the world. So she has to network with people that looks at or businesses that actually maybe work with international clients, so she can also know, okay, what are the incentives, because she works with domestic and international. So not only domestic, international too, when it comes to incentives, so she can benefit from the two sides of it. Okay. All right. So hopefully that helps. So yes, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, SMEs, there's so much out there for you. Make sure you go out to look for it, do your research, and make sure you get that benefit. All right. And then the last question before we go to the last segment. Let me see. The last question. Let me see which other one. I know I got a couple. See, I think I have one more that I would have to.
Hi, my name is Jade Thompson. Staff turnover is a big issue. How do I retain good staff? Thanks.
Okay, I mean, I think for this staff turnover question, I'm really going to do a podcast on that, but I'll just say generally, treat your staff well. I'm going to expand on this particular question, because you need to treat your staff well, and don't make sure you pay them well too, right? Treating them well and also pay them well. A lot of staff have some of them they're facing so much pressure, and they just said, I'm not doing it anymore. That is not, no matter how much you pay them, it's not worth it. So it's not only just paying them, but also knowing how to treat them. But there are various factors that I will talk about in one of my podcasts down the line. Because staff turnover, people don't know that it's so expensive to have staff turnover, because you remember, you have to train new staff. Now, when you train new staff, guess what? The time that you're training them, production, they are not producing anything for you. They're not doing anything, because they have to learn, the system. Even if they've been in their experience, but they have to really get to learn this. They have to know that, understand your own process. You understand? So it's costly, because you have to look at the downtime when you're training them without them actually having an output. So I always tell people that. And then, of course, even apart from the downtime, there are so many factors. What about the recruiting time? All kind of stuff that makes it very expensive. So I tell people, why don't you retain your staff? So I'll really talk about that, and and down the line bring someone that has an HR specialization to also add to what I'm going to say, but I'm going to really do a topic on that, but that's fine. Then finally, just the last segment, we had 3 beautiful questions today, but the last segment today is all about making sure you're careful with with your customers. Who are your customers, right? I'll give an example. Not too long ago, I got an email, and it was because I deal with domestic and international clients because I have my own practice, and I got an email about a company that is based in one country. I think it was an Asian country, but an international country, and it was based internationally, not of course international. So one in a continent out there. So, and as I said, I deal with US and international clients, and the person who was asking me was actually a VP of this company, and the person wrote to me and said, oh, they want me to handle their financials because they're moving into the US market, and which is not something that I can do. There's something I can do. So that wasn't an issue. So we were going back and forth negotiating pricing. And so this person was telling me that the company is into research, medical research on I think jellyfish. And I looked at the website, very, very good, and very, it was high standard website, and and it was like a pharmaceutical company coming into the US. So, but I did my own due diligence, and that's why I want to stress this. I know people come in and might say, oh yeah, I have this client, but you have to do your own due diligence. So I actually called the embassy of this country to make sure that company was authentic. I called the embassy, and they transferred me to their trade units. And they went and did their own research to find out if they were a registered company, find out about the CEO and things like that. And lo and behold, the person was a fraud. But I did my due diligence. So, I'm just trying to make sure that anybody out there, as you're looking for increase in clients, right? Make sure that you do your due diligence, right? People get so excited. And I was, don't get me wrong, very excited, very happy. Oh yeah, this is a good client. We went through some analysis, but I just said, you know what? I'm not in this country. I want to make sure that that this person is legitimate. So I reached out to that country's embassy, and surprising with a wonderful website, wonderful research, and writing so many research, about jellyfish and how it works. I said, oh my goodness, but I'm very happy I did my due diligence. So just to encourage everyone that please make sure that whenever something like this, you see something, you have, it could be domestic clients, be sure of who you're working with as a client. It's not having so many clients that you're not sure of who they are. Few great clients, or many great clients are also good, or is also good. So make sure you know who you're working with. I'm just telling you what my experience. I hope it helps somebody to really, check and overcheck. All right. To make sure that you're not bringing in somebody on board that will destroy your business. Right. All right. So see you next time. Bye. Thanks for having me. Remember to join my live podcast on Tuesdays, 6 to 6:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. Visit my website, driniadesanya.com, for details. Till next time, bye for now.